Hey everyone, it's Caitlin from the Wooljewel Podcast and welcome to WoolBooty number 3. So WoolBooty is my series of videos where I share stuff that I've been shopping for and my most recent stash acquisitions. So this is not a normal podcast episode, but I like to do all my shopping related stuff in separate videos because I just don't really have time to put it into all the podcast episodes. If this is your first time dropping by, welcome, and be sure to check out the actual podcast where I talk about my projects and all the more knitting and crafting related stuff. If you want to find me on social media, you can find me on Instagram as @Wooljewel. I'm also Wooljewel on Ravelry, and there's a Ravelry podcast group that is Wooljewel Podcast. I also just started a Patreon, and I just want to say a huge thank you to my patrons on there. I will leave a link to all that good stuff in the description of the video below. So let's get started. It's been a while since my last WoolBooty video, so I'm not going to show you absolutely everything I've acquired since then because that would just be ridiculous. So most of the stuff I'm going to show you today is some stuff I picked up from my most recent trip to Paris and a swap that I did with Tristan from the Girls in the Yarn Cafe and a couple other little things I picked up. So today I'm also gonna share a little bit about my prep for Edinburgh Yarn Festival, which is not a whole lot, but I'm really excited. I'm leaving tomorrow morning. Today is Thursday the 15th, I think. So yeah, I've been super busy and haven't really had time to give EYF much thought. And it's tomorrow, so I feel like all day today I am kind of prepping and planning for that. So since these knitting festivals and things tend to just be a lot of shopping, I'm going to be talking about that here on WoolBooty today too. First, I do want to share the sweater that I'm wearing today. It is the piece of silver. This is a finished object, so I'm not going to talk about I haven't shared it on the podcast yet as a finished object, so I'm not going to get into the project details, but I picked up this yarn on my most recent Paris trip at Bien Aimee, and I just cast on and knit the sweater super fast, so I don't even have the skeins to show you because I just knit it up really fast. So here it is. I'll show you the yarn up close. This is the colorway Quail. It's a really beautiful light gray, and these speckles are kind of like an amber and dark brown color, and some of them get a little bit yellowy. I don't know if it's coming up correctly. Anyway, I really love this colorway. It's exactly what I wanted for my piece of silver. The pattern I think calls for a single ply from Bien Aimee, but I didn't want to knit a single ply sweater just because I didn't want it to pill. So I chose darn it, I can't remember the name of the yarn itself. The label's right over there, so I'm gonna go grab it. Oh, and here's one of the little balls left. So this is the Merino Twist Sock. It says 400 yards and 425 meters, and if I'm remembering correctly, it's supposed to have more yardage. I think the yardage number is actually incorrect because I think 425 meters is correct, but then if it's 425 meters, it means there would be more yards. Maybe I have it backwards. Anyway, so it's the Merino Twist Sock, colorway Quail. It's a 75/25 merino nylon sock yarn, and it is a nice textured 2-ply. I really love 2-ply yarn, and what I really love is this like bumpy texture that it has. I really like that in a yarn. It's really soft, and I blocked it, and I've only worn it once for a couple hours, and I'm wearing it now, so it's still really new, and I really love it. And Bien Aimee is going to be at EYF, so I'm really excited, but I don't think I'm going to be buying a whole lot there since I just bought a sweaters quantity when I was at the shop. So I don't know. There might be something irresistible, but we'll see. Okay, moving on. So I think I've got a plan for these WoolBooty videos. I have my Porter bin from Fringe Supply Co. I love this thing. I think what I'm gonna do is keep all of my new stash acquisitions in here, and then when it fills up, it'll be time for another WoolBooty. We'll see how that goes. That's kind of the plan right now because it's like pretty full right now, and I've just been tossing stuff in there as I acquire it. So at Bien Aimee, I did buy the 3 skeins of the yarn for my piece of silver, and I bought one other skein that was a gift, so I'm not going to show it. And then I also went to another shop called Les Petits Parisiens, and it is my fave. I'm going to pull out all the skeins from that. Okay, I'll just show them to you one by one. I already showed this one on the podcast. This is basic fingering or basique fingering. I don't know, I don't speak French. So here's the label. This is the name of the shop, the Petit Point. And then here's the yarn information. This is the colorway Candy Crush. And I love the speckles on this. I mean, I love speckles in general, like who doesn't? But I love that some of them are splotchy like this, and then some of them are more speckly, more like pixelated, like little tiny ones, and then there's the big splashy ones. It's so pretty. And it's really springy, which is why I picked it, because it's almost springtime, so it's almost time for springy knits. I don't know. I haven't decided what I'm gonna do with this yet, but I picked up this, and then I found this. It's amazing, and I really want to put them together. I think this could be something really amazing. So this skein, oh, I forgot to mention Anne the dyer at Les Petits Parisiens gifted this skein to me, and I am so grateful. Thank you so much, Anne. I had picked out a ton of yarn and was staring at it all, and like took me so long to decide on some yarn, and she was really, really sweet and gave this one to me. So thanks again, Anne. I love your yarn. Okay, so this one is mohair and silk. It's 72% kid mohair, 28% silk, and the colorway is neon. This is a 50-gram skein, and it's 420 meters, so pretty typical for a mohair. It is the best bright pink ever. I love it. I am considering putting this into the Alyeska sweater by Caitlin Hunter. So it's a colorwork sweater that has a bunch of different stranded design like all the way down, but then there's one chunk around the yoke that has mohair. So I've been thinking about doing this. I don't wear a whole lot of hot pink, so it's kind of hard to imagine putting it like as a feature on a yoke on a sweater. So I'm trying to come up with some colors that would work for the rest of the sweater that would kind of make it make sense. So I don't know. These two might end up being the top of one of those sweaters. Or a shawl. I don't know. Hard to decide. I'm not in any rush. Okay, I also picked up this skein of worsted yarn. This is her basic worsted. It's 100% merino superwash. And these are 115 grams. You get a little bit more than a typical worsted skein. This has 230 meters, so it's pretty generous yardage, I think. I actually own a sweater's quantity of this colorway, but in a BFL fingering. So I haven't decided what sweater I want to make with that yet, but I love this colorway so much. I think it's It's Rue du Soleil. Rue du Soleil d'Or. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't speak French. But yeah, it's pretty much the best color ever. And if you know me at all, you know that this is like my color. I love it. I had a hard time not buying like everything in this colorway in her shop. But since I already had a sweater's quantity of the fingering weight, I had to contain myself because I bought that last year when I went to Paris and I still haven't used it. So I was like, I'm just gonna get one skein in this colorway, and I decided to get a worsted. Maybe I'll make a hat or something. I don't know, maybe that would be a little bit much on my head. Or maybe I'll do like a brioche cowl or something with this. I don't know. I have two more from the same shop to show you. This is another basic fingering skein. It's 400 meters, 100 grams. It's called, the colorway is Ellie's Pink. Here's the label. And I don't know, it's not the splashiest colorway, but I do own a lot of really bright, splashy skeins of yarn, and so lately I've been kind of into getting more subtle things, and this is that. This is a really nice subtle light pink. It's almost cream, and it has just the tiniest bit of speckling. I think that's black or super dark brown, and then some of it is like a dark pink speckle. I just thought it was really gorgeous, and it would even work well with this one, I think. I don't know, maybe these three can go into my Alyeska. We'll see. Okay, save the best for last. I don't know, I couldn't put this one down. I just couldn't. I have no plans for it. This is also basic fingering. 100% merino, superwash, 400 meters, 100 grams. The colorway is citrus. And it's like the brightest yellow I've ever seen in a yarn before. This is different from like Caitlin yellow that I'm super into, which has a little bit more green in it. But this was just like super exciting. And it's also hard to find a hand-dyed yarn that is like actually really solid. So I just thought it was really striking, not just because it's like a true solid color, but that it's just so bright too. I don't know. I'm excited for spring because I mean, look, this even works with this one too. There's like, I feel like all of these could go into a project together. Because this speckly skein does have a little bit of yellow in it. I don't know. I didn't do that on purpose, but maybe these could all be something. Anyway, okay, so that's all I have from that shop. If you want to buy yarn from Anne, she does not have an online shop. So if you want to order yarn from her, look her up on Instagram. I will leave a link below to her website as well. I have bought yarn from her just by emailing her. So I knew I wanted to get some yarn for a swap, and so I sent her an email that said, hey, what do you have in the way of fingering? And I just kind of let her know what I was looking for, and she sent some pictures, and I just picked a couple out, and she sent them to me. So when I ordered online, I got two skeins. I got one for the swap and one for myself, because if you guys have been watching the podcast, I knit my eyeball shawl with one of her skeins, and I lost the tag, so I don't even remember the colorway of it, but this one looked really similar to the one I used for my eyeball shawl, for the pupil and for the brioche border, but it's more of a blue undertone. The one I used had kind of a mauvey, dark purple undertone that was mostly black kind of, and then this is like the same thing but blue, and I just think that it's super pretty, so I just wanted another one like that. So I didn't pick this up in Paris, I just emailed her and ordered it directly from her, And I'm a sucker for packaging, and she always puts her yarn in these really nice paper bags, and it always smells amazing. So I need to ask her what that perfume is that she uses, because it smells so good. Even my husband is like really into the way it smells, so I actually kept the paper bags, and they're just like in my stash because they smell so nice. Yeah, not that that's important, but if you like that sort of thing. Okay, moving on. So I'm gonna share what I got in my yarn swap with Tristan from the girls in the Yarn Cafe. On the podcast, I showed one of the skeins, or I showed this sock kit that she sent me, and I'm basically the worst, and I didn't even say the name of her hand-dyed yarn company. So she's on the Girls in the Yarn Cafe podcast, but her yarn dyeing business is Dragon Hoard Yarn. So they have different names, but it's the same person. And this is "Stay Sexy, Don't Get Murdered," which is a quote from a podcast that we both like called My Favorite Murder. Anyway, so this is her Dragon Scales base. It's 100 grams, 436 yards, plus a 20 gram mini. So I haven't made socks in quite a while. I've never had like a sock kit like put together and actually intended them for socks. So, but I might actually do that with this, because I think this would make some really cute socks. That or some more leg warmers for ballet. But yeah, thank you Tristan so much. Dragon Hoard Yarn, I'm like the worst and didn't even say it on the podcast. I don't know how I did that. Anyway, so a few of the other things that she sent me. One of them is this amazing sparkly pink speckly skein of the Lemonade Shop. And I've been following the Lemonade Shop on Instagram for a while now, but I have not actually ordered any yarn from there. But they have some of the best colorways. And it's so funny because I've heard Tristan say on her podcast that she's like not really a pink person, but lately she's been buying a lot of pink. And I'm the same way. I was never a pink person, but like the past year I've been really into pinks, and like almost everything she sent me has pink in it. So that's pretty funny. So this one's called Stinky Princess, and it's on the Sparkle single base. It's 400 yards, 100 grams. And it's a 95% superwash merino, 5% stellina. And it's a single ply. So it's super, super soft. I have no idea what I'm gonna use this for. I have a few things of stellina, but I don't think I've actually used much stellina, like for real. But I think that this would make an awesome little sweater for a baby. So like maybe one of my nieces or something will get a sparkly pink sweater. Thank you, Tristan. This one's super fun. Oh yeah, and she said that she bought this at Rhinebeck at the Indie Untangled Lemonade Shop booth, and that is actually where I met her for the first time. So it's a little bit sentimental, so it's nice. Okay, another one she sent me of her own hand-dyed yarn is this set of minis. So these are also Dragon Hoard yarn. It doesn't say what base they are, but I asked her and I think she said these are her fluffy sock. And some of them have stellina. So some of them are sparkly and some of them are not. And she says, minis for your Stephen West patterns, all Dragon Hoard yarn. So she knows exactly what I'm into, especially when spring rolls around. That's what I'm into, knitting all these like crazy, bright, fun, scrappy Stephen West patterns. So I don't know, maybe I'll do another Pinguono or I don't know, something else equally stripy and scrappy and fun. She sent me another Dragon Hoard yarn. She totally spoiled me. This is the Shepherdess BFL base, fingering weight, 100 grams, 400 yards. This is an 80-20 blend of BFL and nylon. and it is so pretty. I really, really love this. I think it's turning up a little bit more red on camera. I think it's a little bit more pink in real life than how it's showing up, but it's hard to tell. The colorway is Banshee, and this is also that nice bumpy ply that I love. If you can see the texture, I love that in a yarn. I don't know what it is. I just really like knitting with that nice textured ply. Okay, so almost done with my swap package. She super spoiled me. She told me we were gonna do a 2 skein swap, and then she sent me like all this stuff. But she sent me 2 balls of this Cascade mohair. So this is what she sent me. She sent 2 of them, and I've only got 1 now because the other one's already being used for a project. This is 61% Super Kid mohair, 35% silk, 4% merino. It's just a really nice basic mohair. 25 grams, 300 yards, so it's pretty generous. And I have not shown this project on the podcast yet, but I will show you what I'm using it for already. So thanks, Tristan. I actually have been wanting to cast on this sweater for a while, which uses mohair held double with a fingering for the yoke in this woven stitch. And I had the fingering yarn for quite a while, like set aside for this sweater, but I didn't have the color mohair that I wanted to use. I have a lot of mohair, but I didn't feel like any of it was gonna look right with this fingering skein. I will give a lot more details on this project in the next actual podcast episode. I just wanted to share that I have already cast on some of my swap yarn. Just real quick, this is the Ambient sweater. The designer is Airy or something. I don't know. I will link it. I'll put the information here. So that's what that sweater is. And like I said, more details on the actual podcast. Oh yeah, and she sent a couple other goodies like stitch markers, these amazing little stitch markers, some Harry Potter things, some little animals. I think this is like a time turner from Harry Potter. If it's not, I'm just gonna pretend that it is. And my favorite is this little sushi. Oh my gosh. So cute. Thanks, Tristan. I love it. And also this is like my favorite thing. Oh my god, I just broke it. Oh my gosh, no, I was so excited to show you guys this. It's a frog tape measure, and I love frogs. You pull the eyeball out and it pulls a tape measure, but I just broke it. Shoot. Maybe I can find another one online. Tristan, let me know where you got this, because I want to order another one. Now I'm all bummed out I broke my tape measure. I didn't even use it yet because I was going to show it on the podcast. So that is it for my swap. Thank you so much, Tristan. Everybody go watch the Girls in the Yarn Cafe. She has a podcast with her mom, and they both dye yarn. And if you are into super long podcasts with a lot of content, go check them out. Okay, so I just have a few more skeins to show you. I've had this one for quite a while. My good friend Stephanie sent me this as a gift. I think it might have been for Christmas, but she was on the podcast several months ago. If you guys remember her, she came for a visit and I had her on the podcast because she's also a knitter, and she helped me learn to spin again. And she sent me this skein, which she picked up in Texas where she lives. It's from Morningside Road Fiber. I have to kind of tear this off so you can see the label. And this skein is an 80% superwash merino, 20% Tussa silk. It's 434 yards. So it's hand dyed in Texas, which is where I'm from. And we went to school together in Texas, and she still lives there. So yeah, it's nice to get some yarn from home. I guess, but it's this amazing springy colorway, and of course the silk gives it a nice sheen. Thank you so much, Stephanie. I know it's been forever that I've had this and I haven't shown it on the podcast, but I haven't shown really any of my stash acquisitions yet. It's been a long time. I love these colors. They're really springy to me, and a lot of people have sent me, when I do swaps and stuff or as a gift, I usually get like a bright springy green color. I don't know what it is, but everybody wants to send me green yarn, so I'm trying to think of a way to like combine them all into this big green thing. I don't know. It'll probably end up in a Stephen West thing because that's what most of my bright fingering weight yarn ends up going into. I also just received, this is my most recent acquisition, but I just received this from Gabby at Once Upon a Corgi. This was a total surprise. This is the Lemony Snicket colorway. The base is Audrey, 100% superwash BFL, 3-ply fingering weight. It's 120 grams and 400 yards. So I'm guessing, I don't know, that seems, if it's 120 grams and 400 yards, that makes me think that it's a slightly more dense wool or a slightly thicker than usual fingering weight. Because isn't usually 100 grams about a 400 yards? Either way, it is super, super pretty. Ugh, it's so gorgeous. I love these colors. I only actually have one other skein from her that has Stellina in it, and I just haven't used it yet. I just got it because I liked the colors and had no plan, but what else is new? So yeah, thank you so much, Gabby, for sending this. Total surprise, totally unnecessary and unexpected, but she sent this as a thank you because I am going to be transporting some more of her yarn to Becky from the Stringing It Together podcast because she lives near to me, and so I'm just kind of delivering some yarn to her. I will see her at Edinburgh Yarn Festival, and that is where I will be handing off the yarn. Even though she like lives not that far away from me in Germany, we're doing this yarn exchange in Edinburgh. Okay, last thing I'm gonna show you guys, and one that I'm particularly excited about. I ordered this yarn quite a while ago. I'll just show it to you first and I'll tell you the story. This is a self-striping sock yarn from the Yarn Jar. The colorway is Creepy Pumpkin. So it is a 2-ply fingering weight, my fave. 80/20 superwash merino nylon, 100 grams, 400 yards from the Yarn Jar. This says theyarnjar.com is her website, but I ordered this on Etsy. So when I was at Rhinebeck in October, it was either at the Ravelry meetup or the podcaster meetup because they were like back to back. But I saw the most adorable knitter, and she was knitting a sock with this yarn, and I just had to stop her and say, what is that yarn? I want it, I need it, I love it. Because I love Halloween a lot, and it just like looked like the best Halloween yarn ever. You guys, the Yarn Jar, the most incredible hand-dyed self-striping colorways ever. Like, this dyer is amazing. So I asked her where she got her yarn and the colorway Creepy Pumpkin, and I just had to have it. So this knitter's name is Melissa, and she is Skeinanigans on Instagram. So hi Melissa, if you're watching. Thank you for bringing your sock to Rhinebeck so that I could see it and have this because I'd never heard of the Yarn Jar before. Just go straight to theyarnjar.com, and I will also link it in the description below. I am planning on using these for another set of leg warmers for ballet. Probably something more simple because these stripes are just amazing. I really can't wait to use this. And Melissa is a super creative Amazing knitter. So if you want to, oh, and she also sews. So if you want to follow her on Instagram, her Instagram handle is Scananigans. It's right here. Also, the best little surprise with this yarn was that it came with this super, super cute little witch progress keeper. I love the little witch. I love Halloween, and if it could be Halloween every month, I would be so happy. I love it so much. Yeah, so thank you, the yarn jar. Thank you, Melissa, especially for introducing me to the yarn jar. The best. So that is it for my stash acquisitions. That was quite a lot of yarn. I'm gonna stuff it all back into my porter bin. Okay, let's talk Edinburgh Yarn Festival. I think most important thing before I go, and like the only thing I felt like I really needed to plan ahead of time, was my travel knitting. Right now, I do not have a lot of small projects. I mostly have been knitting sweaters lately, and I actually have a few pairs of socks on the needles, but I'm not excited about any of them, and I don't care anymore. So they're probably gonna languish like forever. So I'm not bringing them. So I was thinking, what can I possibly do? I finished my piece of silver last week. So I thought I would maybe find a sweater pattern that had an interesting yoke that I could knit for the week that I'm still here. But then it's just stockinette for the rest of the body and sleeves. And that way I could have the complicated stuff done before I go on my trip. And then on my trip, I'll just have endless stockinette to do. So that's what this is. That's what the Ambient sweater is. And it's not even that complicated. I just wanted to have something that I didn't have to look at the pattern anymore, pretty much. I really want to be able to separate for the sleeves before I leave tomorrow. So this is going to be my travel knitting. I think I can make it, or it won't even take me the rest of the day, but if I can separate for the sleeves tonight, I'll be in good shape for travel knitting. But I don't know, I also feel kind of weird only bringing one project on a trip, even though it's just a couple of days. It's like if something happens with that project, or I can't continue for some reason because of like a knitting emergency, whatever that might be, I want to have a backup project. And so that would usually be a pair of socks or something small, but like I said, I'm just like not excited about the socks I have going on right now. So I don't know, maybe I'll cast on some new socks. I don't know. I need to figure it out though, because I don't want to get stuck without knitting at this festival. In terms of finished objects that I'm gonna bring to wear, I am gonna be bringing my piece of silver because it's warm but lightweight at the same time, and I heard that it can get pretty hot in there. If it's anything like last year, everybody was complaining about how hot it was, so I don't want to bring a big bulky sweater. And I'll be bringing my Ausbridge pullover, which is heavier and a lot warmer, but it's cropped, so hopefully it won't be that bad. But I'm hoping I'll be able to bump into Francesca Hughes while I'm there, who's the designer of this sweater. That's why I want to bring it. And it's also one of my most recent finished objects, so I really wanted to wear it to a festival. So I think I'm just gonna bring those two. And if I bring something else, it might just be an older sweater that's like not new and exciting anymore, but we'll see. As far as shopping goes, I have kind of gone through my list of favorites, or like things that I want to knit, and kind of gone through my stash a little bit to see if I can formulate some kind of plan, or at least have a few sweaters in mind that I know that I want to knit, or things that I know that I need for whatever reason. One of them being the Radiate sweater by Locatelli. I really love this sweater. My sister made one, and I have yarn that I want to use for the contrast color in the yoke, but I don't have a main color for it because I think it's DK. And I have a lot of DK yarn, but like my fingering, it's all like different colors and different types of bases, so I don't really want to mix them. So I might try to find a main color for that. Another main thing I'm going to look for is a main color for the Ninilchik Swoncho. I've been wanting to make the Swoncho for a long time, like since it came out. And like I said, I have a lot of DK in different colors. And I have a group of them that I really want to put together for the color work, but I don't have anything in enough multiple skeins to do a main color. So I'm gonna look for something for that. As far as yarn planning and shopping, I think the other stuff I'm gonna be looking for is kind of a gradient set to use for the Alyeska, where I might use this hot pink. So if I find something that I feel like will work with this hot pink yarn for that sweater, I'm gonna be into that. And one sweater I've been wanting to knit for a really long time is the Bright sweater. So this is a one size sweater pattern, and I'll put all the info for all these patterns up. But it's one size, and so it calls for 1,624 yards of sport weight. I do not usually have sport weight in my stash, so I'm going to look for some to make this sweater. It's amazing. I saw a knitter wearing this Bright sweater at Berlin Knits, and I cannot remember her name, but it was just so pretty. And I had actually already favorited the pattern months before, and I just had forgotten about it, and I saw her wearing it and I didn't even recognize it. Things just look so different when they're on and you see them in person, and you can like really see more detail, and I don't know. I was just like blown away by the sweater in person. So yeah, I'm gonna look for yarn to make that because I don't have a single thing that could go into that sweater right now. So that's kind of my shopping plan. And I think that's about it. I really, really hope if you guys are going to EYF that you come and say hi. I will be there on Friday afternoon. I'm gonna go with my friend Shara, who's a knitter here in Germany. And so we're gonna fly to Glasgow actually first, and then take the train to Edinburgh because that was way cheaper than flying directly into Edinburgh. And we fly in super early tomorrow morning, which is Friday. So as soon as we check into our Airbnb and whatnot, we're gonna, I think, head over. And so we're probably gonna have to end up waiting in line, but that's okay because I'm gonna have my travel knitting with me. And I will be there on Saturday. We actually have tickets for the Saturday marketplace, so I will definitely be there on Saturday. And I really want to go to the podcaster lounge to meet a bunch of these amazing podcasters that are gonna be there and meet up with some friends. So please, please, please come say hi. I would love to meet you. It should be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. And my 30th birthday is at the end of March, and so this is kind of my treat yourself birthday thing. So I am really looking forward to having a lot to share. I'm gonna do my best to get some footage to share with you guys on the podcast because I know you guys like to see that stuff, but I'm usually really, really bad about remembering to get my camera out while I'm doing stuff because I'm usually overwhelmed and like don't get that good of footage. So that's it for WoolBooty number 3. So hopefully I'll see you at EYF, and if not, I will see you on YouTube when I return. Leave a comment with stuff that you have been most excited to shop for. I haven't even looked at the vendor list for EYF, so if you know of something super special or awesome that's gonna be there, leave a comment below so that I can make sure to find that booth when I get there. I would love you guys' recommendations. So I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.